Mark Rober has found himself in a lot of trouble, and there are people that are really mad at him.
Hi, I'm Sweaty Dog, and thank you for watching.
I'm sure most of you guys know who Mark Rober is. I mean, he has 65 million subscribers on YouTube, and if you don't know who he is, well, he has 65 million subscribers on YouTube, and he makes fun, educational videos, mostly about engineering, and it's from a trusted source because he's a former NASA engineer and Apple employee. But not one of those Apple employees that are basically slaves. He has all of these subscribers because he has a highly entertaining Mr. Beast style video, and he's charismatic. His personality is one that a lot of people are attracted to, and he exploded on YouTube and became the guy that most of us now know. But because he is so influential, especially to the millions of kids that watch him, a lot of people have him under a microscope and are just waiting for him to make a mistake or have a misstep. And unfortunately, that's exactly what he did in his most recent video. The video idea is a pretty simple one. Test Tesla's camera self-driving technology and compare it to LiDAR, which if you don't know what LiDAR is, it's basically using lasers instead of cameras to detect for potential hazards. So the video is educational, it's informative, and it's interesting, all of his trademarks. So no problem, right? Yeah, no. The test went exactly how anyone with knowledge on this situation would expect, which is the LiDAR, the superior technology, vastly outperformed the Tesla's camera alternative system, which I thought was common knowledge, but I guess not really, after seeing all the backlash on Twitter, of all places. And, well, anyway, we're gonna get to that. We'll get to that later in the video. The part that everyone is mad about is the test where he made a Wile E. Coyote style fake wall to see if the Tesla would recognize that it was a fake wall and do an emergency stop before hitting it, which is pretty funny. I think that everyone at some point has wondered if this was a thing, that if this situation popped up in the wild, if you would, that the Tesla auto drive system would be able to detect if this was a trick or if it would just plow straight into the wall. So it makes sense why he would make a video about this, because it's a cool, interesting idea, and that's what he's trying to do. He's a YouTube channel. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But because we live in a very politically charged time in American history, people got very angry because they say this is just an attack on Elon Musk. Now up until this point, it probably sounds like I'm some sort of Mark Rober apologist, and I'm just glazing him, but I'm not. In fact, I would say for the most part, we probably do not line up on political views, and that's fine, because guess what? I can still watch and enjoy someone regardless of their opinions when it comes to politics. Most of us are going to differ on our opinions. That's life. So people just need to stop making politics their entire personality. But now we're going to go to the place that, well, basically everyone does just that and makes politics their personality, and that's Twitter. So Twitter basically erupted with people complaining about this right away. Some people on Twitter were saying that he had stock in LiDAR's company and that he shouldn't be making a video about that if he has stock in it, or that he was secretly even sponsored by them, which is illegal, by the way. They also said that the footage was altered, and that you could tell by the way that the footage was spliced and sliced together that he was intentionally trying to fool the self-driving system, or even braked on purpose so that it would look like the car failed the test. And another one, they went as far as to say that this was kind of like child abuse because he had a fake dummy of a kid as a prop that got hit by the car as it burst through the wall. Which, I mean, come on now. This is some Reddit level mod criticism here. You really have a problem with this. This is obviously for a joke, and if you watch the whole video, it also adds the context that the dummy was there for all of the tests. He didn't just put it behind this wall for a stupid gag. I mean, sure, he did, kind of, but it was also there for testing purposes to see if the Tesla car and the LiDAR car would stop before hitting a kid in different situations, like if there was rain or whatever, fog, all these different tests. So it wasn't like he was just throwing this kid out there, or dummy kid out there, just so he could get a video of a kid getting hit by a car. That's kind of stupid. All of this boiled over so much that eventually he had to make a response video. And before we get to that, let me just say this real quick. I really don't know if I want to live in a world like this anymore. Everywhere you go, people just want to get mad about something. Everyone has to take a side and fight against anybody that opposes them. And anyone in the same team has to think that the other person that's on their team is infallible and perfect. Like Elon now, just because he's conservative and is free speech, anybody on the right tries to defend him for anything that he does. Do people even realize that you can still agree with someone and also acknowledge that they have a flaw? It's just insane. Anyway, so he goes on the Philip DeFranco YouTube channel to address all the allegations, and believe me, there are a lot of them. Too many to count. So let's just start with the most common allegation that was seen on Twitter and also mentioned in a video by Meet Kevin. Now, Kevin alleges that Luminar, the LiDAR company that Mark Rober uses in the video, is paying him, or that even he has stock in the company, and that he didn't even use the full self-driving features that the Tesla car has, therefore making it less accurate. But in response, Mark Rober released raw footage onto Twitter, and they even talk about this in his other response video, but we'll get to that. And it shows that the self-driving does disengage 17 frames before impacting the wall. And on Twitter, he even says as much, claiming he did not press the brakes or the gas, and he doesn't know why the self-driving disengaged.
He said, not sure why it disengages 17 frames before hitting the wall, but my feet weren't touching the brake or gas.
So I think people were saying that I was manually just drove it through, because 17 frames, by the way, is like less than a half of a second before it hits the wall. Again, I don't know why it would disengage. I was not pulling on the steering wheel. And by the way, even if I did disengage it, it's less than a half a second before you go off. The outcome would not be different.
Again, I don't even know if that's true. After all, he does sound honest. Not to mention, this is exactly how I expected the test to go. And it's also not that big a deal. Like, how many times are you going to be running into a Wile E. Coyote wall just out in the middle of the street, out in the wild? Maybe once or twice, if you're unlucky. Although after this, I wouldn't be surprised if angry liberals were going around building these walls now. But I don't know. I don't think it's really that big a deal. I don't know why people are getting this upset about it. Anyway, let's go on.
Okay, so first one is less of an accusation and more a question, and that was there any reason you opted to test autopilot on the Tesla instead of full self-driving?
My understanding with full self-driving is that you have to enter an address for it to work, and it, as opposed to just being able to engage it. And this is what Tesla is called, autopilot. And even Googling it, seeing what they determine as autopilot. And my understanding is that the sensor is not different, whether it's full self-driving or autopilot. Knowing if that's a wall or not, that doesn't change. So I think I'd be happy to rerun the experiment in full self-driving. I'm pretty confident it wouldn't be a different result. So to me, it was a distinction without a difference.
I have no way of really knowing if what he is saying is true. I'm not informed on this. I don't own a Tesla, so I have no way of knowing. I would just have to Google it, and I would get the same response that he just said. Not to mention, he also owns the Tesla that he's using in the video. He also says later on in this response that he plans on upgrading his Tesla in the future and that he likes Tesla.
My Tesla, like, it's one of my favorite. I'm really just here for the data.
Regarding the raw clip and what's in the video, there have been people that say that it looks like you may have had multiple takes or possibly gone through the wall multiple times. Were there multiple takes? What can you give any insight there?
There was. I mean, this is like what you put in end video. So the first day we went out there, I think you can even see it. There was we didn't have like the styrofoam wall. It was just like a vinyl sheet. And we did a take. It went right through. I think that was the one that maybe was at 40 miles an hour or something. But it was just like, instead of cutting through it, like, which would visually look cool, it just kind of tore the side and like a little flap came up. So it was like, that was a very interesting finding that it actually worked. And by the way, I'm happy to give you the raw footage of that take too. So you'll see it going through the wall, but it's more of a flap. And then we're like, holy crud, I can't believe that really worked. And then, I don't know, like 3 weeks later, we went back out time when schedule permitted, this time with like a styrofoam wall.
This seems pretty cut and dry to me. He's an entertainment channel with education. He is going to test it ahead of time to make sure he has a good video ahead of him, and then he's going to make it more interesting for YouTube. The dude's just spitting facts here. I don't see any way to disprove this, but one criticism I do think is valid is one that I haven't even seen on Twitter or anywhere else, and it's kind of my own personal point of view here. I do think Mark Rober did do something wrong in this video, but I'm gonna get to that at the end because there's still other allegations that we need to talk about.
Regarding Luminar, there have been a lot of people asking what kind of role they played. Right, the description of the video says they provided the car for testing. Did they have any say in the edit? Did they have any say
edit.
in the
They
setup?
didn't see the edit. I really want to clear this. Luminar gave us no money. They had no say in the edit. They did not approach us. They were just a car technology I know that used LiDAR. So I reached out to them and say, hey, will you let us borrow some cars?
Do you or anyone close to you, once again, it's like based off of these accusations, do you or anyone close to you have any Luminar stock?
I do not own any Luminar stock, or I do not know of anyone close to me who owns any Luminar stock. Absolutely unequivocally.
And I know you said you love Tesla. Just to confirm, do you have any options or puts on Tesla?
I have no options on Tesla. I have no puts on Tesla. There's no financial anything in here at all, 100%. I'll go into court of law.
I'm gonna believe him on this one because this isn't something you would double down on and lie about, because this is something that can be easily verified. It wouldn't take very long searching around to prove that he has stock or that they paid him. And I think those accusations aren't ones that should be thrown around lightly, and this could result in Steven even looking at some legal issues. He also says he has no financial gain to get with this video, which isn't quite true because he's getting paid by YouTube to make an entertaining video. But to be clear, that's not considered sponsorship, and I'm not saying that. But he does have some financial gain. It's just not from the company. It's just him making an entertaining video, and YouTube's gonna pay him.
One, do you have any comment or reaction to Luminar removing the link to your video from their website? I believe it was as of this morning.
I think someone said that they had posted it. My guess is they took it down because we were very clear with them, like, you aren't allowed to use this at trade shows. This isn't part of your marketing material. Like, this isn't a puff piece for you. We just want to borrow the car, and whatever happens, happens. So my guess is they felt bad and realized that's a bad look if they are posting it. But we told them, like, this is not for your marketing materials. We are just using your car for our video. So if it's down, I'm guessing that's why they took it down, out of respect for us.
Okay, enough of that. He defended himself pretty well on that stuff. But I do have some thoughts because I have a problem with this video. And I do think he left out some critical information. So let's talk about that. First off, before I say my criticism, let me also just say I'm a fan of Mark Rober's videos, and the guy does seem to be genuinely a kind-hearted person, and that's why he's gotten so many people to watch his videos, and he gets a ton of views. And I don't think what he did intentionally. He seems to be an honest person. I mean, after all of the stuff he talked about in his response seems to be pretty easily fact-checkable, and he didn't lie about that. So I would say he's genuinely an honest person. The first criticism I have for him is one that he actually talks about, and that is, this was terrible timing, really bad timing, and he defends himself on this, saying that, hey, I did not plan for this to happen right now. I actually had this video planned as far back as a year ago, and it just so happened to land right now at this time period when Elon Musk is a very unpopular guy. But that's not the extent of it. I think what he doesn't understand, and maybe you don't either, is that he's not just an unpopular guy right now, or at least on the left. It's that he and anybody that owns a Tesla is under full-blown attack.
Someone has just created a website called DogeQuest, which reportedly publishes the names, addresses, and phone numbers of Tesla owners across America. Now, the site, which has a Molotov cocktail for a cursor, claims that they will only remove the personal data if owners prove that they have sold their Teslas. Now, the intentions of this website seem pretty clear, because this comes off the back of Tesla dealerships being attacked, Cybertrucks being torched, Tesla stock prices plummeting, and even X getting hit with huge cyber attacks. The website reads, if you're on a hunt for a Tesla to unleash your artistic flair with a spray can, just step outside, no map needed.
That just goes to show just how crazy the times that we are living in are. You can get firebombed just for the brand of car that you happen to drive. Most car drivers of Teslas are environmentally conscious, left-leaning people too. That's the craziest part. Anyway, that's my first criticism. Now my second criticism. Okay, so my main issue with this entire video is this. He listed all these benefits for LiDAR, which there are a lot of benefits for LiDAR, and he also listed all the downsides of the Tesla camera system as if this was all new information. But it's not all new information. People have actually known this for many years now, and Elon Musk has even talked publicly about why he doesn't use LiDAR in his car, even though it's more reliable. And Elon basically lists all the downsides of LiDAR, which Mark Rober also should have listed in his video, in my opinion. And the downsides are this. LiDAR is more expensive, vastly more expensive, and you also have to have this big piece of bulky equipment on the top of your personal car. And the average consumer, which is who Tesla is trying to target, doesn't want some big, ugly LiDAR sensor on the roof of their $1,000 car. They would rather have a sleek, less expensive, and significantly cheaper alternative, even if it is not quite as good. Just take one look at a Waymo car and you'll understand why you wouldn't want to have something like that parked in your garage. And I'm sure most of you wouldn't. And I really think that Mark Rober should have mentioned this in his video, because it's not that Tesla doesn't know that their camera system isn't as good as LiDAR and therefore doesn't use it. They don't use it for reasons. They know that this is not a perfect system, but they're doing the best they can with the equipment they have because they want to make it cheap so that the masses might be able to afford it. Anyway, that's my main issue with it. And that's all I really wanted to talk about. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Later, dog.